We did a top 10
We,
last.
whoa, 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 whoa. We, uh-uh.
Okay, listen, we presented. Okay, you were part of that part. We presented a top 10 last week that was top 10 sitcoms that Terry thought of. Okay, so I created it. I did the same process I've done up until this point. Normally, I can Google for lists. This one was way too much to just do that. And we thought, well, Terry kind of screwed that up. Let's do a second list that includes shows that Terry didn't think of. And that's what we're doing this week. But guess what? We've already thought of at least 10 or 15 other shows that didn't get through. You know what? Get over it. It's not going to happen. If your favorite show ever is not on one of these two lists, we don't care. That's our
Nah.
disclaimer. Just get
Well,
over it. We're not
this
we're
is
not capable of doing this apparently.
this is what I will say. But Terry is correct. We don't give a fuck. He's a lot politer about it than I am. But I this is what I will say about it. There's way too damn many sitcoms.
There are. It's like, could I have picked something very vague to do at the last minute? I took notes on my phone. Let me tell you. So I went through, I thought of some other shows. So when we gave this list to our RAM network guys on our chat, they
Wrestling
were,
and more.
and
Plug it, learn it, love
we'll
it,
give some more
live it.
details about what's coming up on that later. But this time we only got one complaint, and that was from Justin Davis. And what do you call him, sir?
That awful Justin Davis.
Okay, so that awful Justin Davis said we're step by step, and I meant to look up names here, but like I said, I think of these things and I never go do them. Step by step made me think about my two dads because we
Mm-hmm.
got the same, and that's possibly my first ever TV crush as a kid. That girl that was in both of those. And see, I should go look up her name, but I can't remember what it is. So
Right.
anyway, I got this thing about redheads. Apparently, we know that. We talked about Becky Lynch earlier. So then, when I thought about that, Paul Reiser was on that. So I'm like, oh, we didn't pick Mad About You. Okay, so I don't know if that's
Nope.
a sitcom, but it's a show. And I thought about According to Jim, which we didn't include. Charles in Charge. We got Happy Days, but we didn't get Joni and Chachi. We didn't even put the Brady Bunch in there. What I'm saying is, oh, and the Torkelsons. That was brought up because I was talking about my TV crushes. Because man, that was a definite TV crush. That little girl from the Torkelsons. But anyway, we will move along from that. But I'm just saying, I'm running down several that you're not going to hear, and you're never going to hear because we're
Oh, and
done with this after today. We're not doing it
I've got
anymore.
I've got one that's even worse than any of them Terry just mentioned for all of our listeners my age and possibly Terry's, but probably closer to mine. It was one of the TGIF lineups. It was Boy Meets World with
Yeah,
Corey Matthews as the main
and
character,
Topanga.
Topanga. Everybody loves Topanga. And of course, Mr. Feeney, the greatest teacher there ever was on television. And somehow, wrestling guys missed a show that had Vader and Jake the Snake and Brother Love on it in cameo appearances.
And that now that
So,
reminds me of learning the ropes. Not that that's going to be in anybody's top 10, but Lyle
yeah,
Alzado as a wrestler.
yeah, but we missed Boy Meets World. And they liked it so much 25 years later, they did Girl Meets World about the
Oh,
daughter.
well. People are
Yeah,
just going to have to get over it because this week's
look,
top 10.
when we do dramas, before Terry goes forward, we're going to do them by decades, starting in the 80s, because drama, 43 minutes, serious show. That's the criteria. Submit your hate tweets to TWeave79. He is the person who is guilty for all of this. Now, sir, since I have advocated my responsibilities on this show to you, we can move forward with top 10
So
list.
let me put it this way. I posted something to Facebook yesterday that said a winner is a loser who tried one more time. We're going to have to try a few more times because we kind of screwed this one up.
Well,
Anyway,
and here's the deal. this is the real deal because we're having fun being cheeky about this whole thing. It was too big of a damn topic. We have learned from that. We will not pick a topic that large
Yeah,
again.
we will.
If we do pick a topic that large, we are going to narrow the scope because it's just too broad to get there.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll
Now,
figure it out.
there's a couple. Yeah. Well, I had a bad job. I'm just going to let that roll. Terry,
All
to the
right.
top 10.
Top 10 sitcoms that Terry didn't think of, which doesn't include the top 10 or 50 sitcoms that Terry, Allison, and Andrew didn't think of. That's a thing that you'll
Correct.
never see. Anyway, number 10, Home Improvement.
There you go. Home Improvement. Love this show. I think it
Great show.
deserves a little higher rank than top 10. But everybody remember, you talk about TV crushes for some of these breeders out there. Heidi, the Tool Girl. Come on now. Everybody
Oh,
loved
yeah.
Heidi.
Well, you got to remember Pamela Anderson was on this at the start.
Yep. And you've got, like I say, Home Improvement. You've got Wilson the neighbor. Of course, you've got the
Wilson,
boys.
that's his name.
Yeah, Wilson, of course, Tim and Al. I don't think so,
Howdy
Tim.
ho,
One of the
neighbor.
best lines. Yeah, one of the best lines though. I don't think so, Tim. Al Borland. Um, and just a lot of fun. They dealt with some semi-serious issues in the
Yeah.
latter episodes, but um, really enjoyed Home Improvement. Thought it was a fun show, pretty clean show. Obviously there were some adult jokes in there too, but it wasn't anything you'd be worried about your kids watching or anything like
Right.
that.
Cheeky stuff.
Yeah, I thought it was great personally. I thought it was a good show.
It was. Number
But
9, King of Queens.
I mean, come on. It's
There's been a lot of shows to try to match this. Fat guy with hot wife. Come on,
yeah.
that's been a pattern that they've attempted, but nobody's done it as well as this. I mean,
Nah,
maybe adding Frank Costanza in here, maybe that's a big plus for him because he was a great character. I know it's not Frank Costanza.
Nah, but
Gary Stiller.
They were so good though. Stiller was great as the dad. Of course, Kevin, what's his face? I'm
Kevin
staring
James.
right at James. Thank you. As Doug, great. His wife, fantastic. She was also in Saved by the Bell down the line. Before King of Queens. Just a kind of a fun show. Nothing. Again, it's a sitcom. It's nothing stupid serious and that sort of thing. It was good. And this is all 90s television is really what we're landing on so far, buddy. You're 2 for 2.
I don't remember what the top 10 were. I put it in place, but
I don't look. Full disclosure, fans, I don't look. You're getting the natural reaction from me. So if you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. Wait till next week.
8,
Maybe I'll do better.
Full House. Let's go back a little bit farther. And I loved Full House. Probably not as much of a crush on DJ here, but a little bit.
It was a TGIF lineup, and it set us all up for the greatest rib in the history of television, and that's the Bob Saget is a filthy, filthy man who we all thought was Danny Tanner. I mean, every one of us did until you saw his latter work, his stand-up, whatever. And then there was that movie, I forget what movie it was, where he plays the dad and he just starts cussing and hot, whatever. He
was in Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, whatever it was. Yeah, I
Yeah.
never saw that one. I saw Dumb and Dumber, the original, but I
Dumb
never
and
saw
Dumber
the sequel.
was when they didn't even have the original cast. It was
Right.
Yeah.
But Bob Saget, the greatest rib ever, is he's filthy, dirty comedy, and we all think of him as Danny Tanner. Always giving DJ or Michelle advice, or I forget what's her name's. It was DJ Stephanie and
Michelle.
Yeah. And then of course you got John Stamos, best line out of the damn roast, and I forget which woman said it. She said, "I didn't come here to roast Bob Saget. I came here to fuck John Stamos." It might have been Betty White. I don't remember, but the roast of Bob Saget.
Well, then you got to think about Dave Coulier.
Yep.
Had a whole album written about him by Alanis Morissette that people don't realize. All those songs that came out when, I don't know how old I was. I don't know what year that was, but that was all about Dave Coulier.
Yep. And like I said, you saw the Olsen twins and then Lori Joplin. Isn't that her name? Joplin, Lori Joplin? Lori
Laughlin.
Laughlin, excuse me, Lori Laughlin. Yeah, she's the one who's cheated apparently to get her kids in school or whatever. But more on that some other day. But yeah, Stamos. It was a great show. Like it
Yeah,
just was a
definitely.
fun, great show. And then
And
the idiot
goofy.
named Kimmy. Yeah,
It's the
just
same pattern. It's a goofy show. It's not realistic. They don't try to be realistic, and it's funny. And you don't have to think too hard.
no. And you weren't concerned about what was and was not offensive.
Right.
We just watched the TV. You just watched it. Number 7, sir.
Number 7. Everybody loves Raymond.
Yeah. Oh, Ray
No.
Romano.
And I got to tell you, the stars of this show, in my opinion, are his parents.
Thank God you said that because I was going to.
Oh my goodness.
I love his mother. His
Oh, it's
mother
nothing
cracked
like
me up so much.
nothing like when they took the big spoon off the wall and you could tell it was cleaner behind the big spoon, and her
Mhm.
kitchen walls had been dirty from years of getting filthy, and she was just so embarrassed about that. Oh man,
Yeah,
I love those
it's
moments.
so good. Yeah, and it was a fun show too. It was, and not, again, nothing serious. Nothing. This is after a day at work. You sit down, you watch TV you eat dinner, you watch TV with the family. Nothing to be concerned about. Nothing that would be, oh, this is too risque. This is that whatever. It was just a good, fun TV show.
And the interesting thing about this to me, they had little kids on the show, and they were
Yep.
not the center of the show.
Nope.
Sometimes you would go a whole episode, and I don't think they were even on there, and they were little. So it's like
Yep.
they would just kind of not write them into the episode sometimes. Because you look,
Yep.
Full House, Michelle was a huge place in the show. Normally the stuff was surrounded the kids and their day, or Kimmy Gibbler or her stupidity or whatever. But Everybody Loves Raymond had a set of twins that were really young and a sister, and they rarely were the center of the storyline.
That's right. And I love the brother that was the cop. He's such an idiot. What's his
Oh yeah,
name? Um, I forget
Robert.
his real name. Yeah, Robert. Yeah, he was so good though in the show. That was a fun one. That one belongs on the list of stuff we missed for sure.
It does. Number 6. I went the wrong direction. How I
How
Met Your
I Met Your
Mother.
Yeah, How I Met Your Mother. Suit up, Terry. This one was great. This was a show though that suffered from that one bad thing, and it's we don't know how to end it. So
Yeah.
obviously the premise of the show, How I Met Your Mother, Ted, the main character, sitting there talking with his kids, telling them about the story of how he met their mother, and it spans what, 8 seasons or something like
Yeah, I don't
that.
know.
Neil
I watched
Patrick
some of it.
Harris,
I was not really dedicated to watching this one though.
the redhead from American Pie, whose name escapes me. I mean, this is a great cast. Jason
Oh, I love
Segel is in
her. Of course,
here.
she's a redhead. We've discussed that.
Well, and she turned 50 today, according to our buddy Dave in the HSV, if you believe that shit. American
Allison
Pie.
Hannigan, is that her name?
Yep, yep, you got it. American Pie series, Buffy the Vampire
She's
Slayer.
fantastic.
She is a fantastic actress.
I mean,
but
she got
50?
way past all the thing about flutes, you know. She went beyond that and starred with much more serious stuff.
I still loved her as Michelle. But 50, 50 years old, that woman is, you talk about timeless, homie. She don't look 50. But anyway, great show, obviously Robin, Ted, Barney,
Doogie
the whole
Howser,
work.
which is another show that we didn't include.
No, we did not include Doogie Howser because it's not a medical show. That's how we're getting out of that one.
Well,
is
it's
we
not a
got plenty of
sitcom. Yeah, it's a
yeah.
medical show. Yeah.
But the little references, like they were making a sandwich. Well, they were really smoking pot, but they were making the sandwiches. Barney suit up, a very gay man, very partnered gay man with children in real life,
Yeah.
playing this very on the prowl, promiscuous straight man,
right,
in the show. And they all ended up rotating through, different relationships and that sort of stuff. But the thing that hurts this show's the end, because they didn't know how to end it.
Yeah.
And then
because
they
it
come
was
out
a
with
build up. It's kind of like a high school show. You start
Yeah.
a high school show, and then it's huge, and you're like, we can't act like they're in high school for 15 years. What do we do next?
Yep.
And this was
unless it's
built up for a
unless
story.
it's South Park, and then they're in elementary school forever,
Well,
so
we'll
there
get
you
into
go.
animated series at some point. But one smart thing we did do with this, we did not include any animated series. We
None.
probably should have cut it down a lot farther than that, but that's one thing we did. So we'll set that up later, and we'll probably need to cut that down a bit too.
No Futurama, no Simpsons, no South Park, no Family Guy, no American Dad. Not yet. Not yet.
That's right. Number 5, That 70s Show, and I love this one.
Red Foreman is who I would be as a dad. You know this. Bad things happen to me because I
Oh
have the
man.
worst luck. No,
I,
bad
I
things happen to you because you're a dumbass.
So listen, I sent that very reel today. Did I send it to you? I
You
think
sent
I
it
might
to
have sent
me.
it to everybody. But
Yeah.
that's one of my favorite things. But one of my favorite episodes is when Eric is driving his grandmother back to wherever she lived. I guess she lived a couple hours away. I don't really remember. But they're in Milwaukee, I think, and he's driving her somewhere else. Well, she's just crabby and complaining about everything. Imagine that, Red's mom
Yeah.
being that way. Yeah. No way, right? Not believable. But anyway, he had enough and he said, it wouldn't kill you to say something nice about somebody sometime. And then he looks over. He's like, Grandma?
Yeah.
And she doesn't respond. And then she died. So he's got all this knowledge. And then they have the whole funeral and stuff. And he's talking to Red in the kitchen. And he's really nervous to tell Red that he said that to his mom right before she died. And he said, Dad, I got to tell you something. Right before she died, I said it wouldn't kill you to say something nice about somebody. And Red takes a second, and then he starts busting out laughing. He says, Only you, son. And it was one of the funniest things ever. Oh, my goodness. There's
No,
so many different things, so many great characters that they brought.
Oh yeah, I mean, and this is of course where Kelso, where the real life Ashton Kutcher met his wife Jackie.
Yeah.
Obviously Donna, who went on to be in Orange is the
Another hot
or
redhead. Yeah.
Orange is the New Black, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I got that right. Orange is the New Black.
Yep.
She was the main character in that show. Of course, we see Red Kitty. For God's sake, you can't talk
She's
about this show
excellent.
without talking about Kitty. And then we got him in the picture there, but the weird ass neighbor from next door, Donna's
Bob.
dad, Bob.
Yeah, I don't see Bob's wife on here, but yeah,
No,
Bob's
but
on
she's
here.
and then of course you've got Fez and like we talked about Kelso and Hyde, and of course Eric, Topher Grace. So I mean, really fun show. You know, loose. They dealt with some of real life issues, I guess, but mostly
Not
they're
really too
hormonal
much.
teenagers that
Most
smoke
of it
pot in
was
their
getting
parents'
caught
basement.
smoking weed. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it was the
smoke pot in
70s.
their basement.
It wasn't legal
Exactly.
anywhere.
No, not like it is now.
Right.
But Red, every episode you could count on him calling Eric a dumbass, or one of them a dumbass anyway. And just like clockwork, he did it. And of course, they put this one on FX. That's not something we really talked about.
Right.
But if I'm not mistaken, this was an FX show for a long time. Whereas, Home Improvement, King of Queens, Full House.
This was on Fox originally and then moved to FX. I don't know how many
Yeah.
seasons it was on Fox, though.
But Fox plays the edgier stuff, was my point.
Yeah.
The FX Fox network, they play the edgier stuff.
Right.
How I Met Your Mother, I want to say, was on NBC. Everybody Loves Raymond, I want to say, was on the NBC network.
Yeah,
Maybe I
so.
have
It
that
might have been
wrong.
CBS. I can't remember.
But regardless, what I'm saying is they were on network television.
Yeah, they were definitely on the networks. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you have the antenna, then you could get them regardless if you had cable or not. So that was a big deal, being on broadcast.
Hope your antenna works better than mine does. These basketball games have been hard to watch lately. Number 4.
Could be because you're an Auburn fan.
Well, there's that too. Saved by the Bell. Speaking of high school show and what do we do with it, because it's a big hit. And I picked a picture that has this random guy that works at the diner. I don't even remember that guy's name. Max. Okay.
Max. It was the Max, and his name was Max, and he was a magician. So this is right in my wheelhouse. This is after school television, PBS, I think, probably.
And this is where Screech was really young.
Yeah, Dustin Powers,
smaller than everybody.
Of course, AC Slater there. Mario Lopez. You got Jesse Spano. Got Kelly Kapowski, Lisa Turtle, Zach Morris, and Mr. Richard Belding, the principal. I told you, buddy, this is my shit right here. Um, the thing is, like, Zach Morris had the huge phone. Some of the shit from this show, like he had the huge
Right.
cell phone. Uh, Jesse gets addicted to caffeine pills. They're singing the Pointer Sisters. I'm so excited, I just can't hide it. And she's having a damn
We got the
caffeine nervous
band, the Zack
breakdown.
Attack.
Yeah, the Zack Attack is back. And Friends Forever came out of that. You didn't think that I knew this shit, did you, Terry? I told you this is my wheelhouse. AC Slater, the wrestler, wrestling Nedick at Valley, and of course
Some of
Lisa
the
Turtle.
cheesiest sports scenes ever in the history of TV came from
Oh,
this.
dude, they were always bad. Dustin Powers getting
Ah,
ready to wrestle the big guy from Valley, and here comes Slater, because his quiche was in the oven or whatever, and he
from
started to cook.
Valley.
Yeah,
Oh,
Valley.
because he had to pass. He was failing, and he had to pass a bunch of classes, and the last thing was home ec. Is that what was happening there?
Yeah, they had the quiche. His quiche was in the oven. So yeah, he made that whole thing. And then of course Richard Belding and his wife had a kid. And the episode Zach had the subliminal messages, try to make everybody fall in love with him, and they played him over the or the announcements, and everybody loved him. And it's so yeah, the whole thing was great. But that one was a fun show, and
Yeah.
they ended it right. And then they tried the college years, and let's face it, that sucks. Just
Right. Yeah, they had
terrible.
Bob Golick on there.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
yeah.
interesting. And I guess what was you talked about from King of Queens,
Yeah, so they
Leah
do that
Remini.
episode
What
where,
was
where they get the summer jobs at the beach, and she's
so
the
which
daughter.
show was that though? Was that
That
just
was
Saved
Saved
by
by
the
the Bell.
Bell?
That was
Okay.
Saved by the Bell. Yeah, because remember they
Okay.
actually started Saved by the Bell in junior high school. Haley Mills was the
Right.
teacher, if you remember.
Good Morning Miss Bliss or whatever, and kind of
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So yeah, so Saved by the Bell is junior high school or middle school, and then they went on to high school, of course. Slater comes on, Jesse comes on, and quite frankly, all of them have had fairly, I guess Lisa maybe not so much, but the rest of them have had pretty good careers in terms of
Yeah.
what they were able to do. You know, Tiffany Gleason went on to do what was it? Not Burn. It was the one about the thief
I mean,
in the
wasn't
suit.
she on 90210 and Melrose Place?
Probably, if memory serves me correct, that's probably right. But she was also in White Collar. She was the wife in White Collar. Of course,
Jesse did
uh,
Showgirls.
Jesse did Showgirls. AC Slater, as we all know, Mario Lopez, he loves your dogs and he loves your silly videos. Dustin
He's done a
Diamond, I'm
lot,
not
yeah.
exactly sure what he's done right off the top of my head, but
Well,
then
he
Paul
got into
Gosser,
some stuff, but he passed away. I don't know how long it's been.
yeah,
It's
Paul
been
Gosser did
years now.
NYPD Blue, with
Yeah.
Sibowitz and the rest. So, I mean, it was a pretty good foundational piece for them, and they were all very young. So many good episodes though of Saved by the Bell, and we've got to move on. But
And once again, it was
I loved
goofy.
that
It was
show. Yeah,
lighthearted. When they had issues, it was lighthearted issues. They didn't go too deep. And
yeah.
that's what this time was about on TV.
The No Hope with Dope episode was awesome because it's
Stupid.
1990. You couldn't get more 90s than that particular episode of Saved by the Bell. So anyway,
Number 3, Married with Children. And
I know our crowd boosted this one
this
up
is
because
definitely the Fox network here.
yeah,
That's not showing up on the other networks, and it was lighthearted and made fun of just everything. It was excellent.
couldn't write it today.
Yeah.
Don't think that one would survive Al Bundy's sexism. I really don't.
The
Where he
No
calls
Ma'am girl. You don't think No Ma'am would be something that would be on TV today?
calls all the women fat, and
Oh, that's so great though.
the
The shoe salesman, and he's like, all these fat broads come in here and try on shoes. And
yeah,
then I love they would have those scenes, and it didn't mean anything. It just added to who he was, where he's some lady sitting there with her kids and trying on shoes, and he's like, well, if you would lay off the ho-hos, and all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
It's not
Well, and
happening today.
then when he comes home, first thing he does, he sits on the couch, he puts his hands right down his pants. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
this was like one of those where it still showed the grittiness of human beings. Like
Hmm.
we joke about some of these shows being silly and fun and whatever, and they are, don't get me wrong, but they weren't showing some of the stuff that Married with Children, was showing. And of course, Peg would go on to play Gemma in Sons of Anarchy, because I just lost Kate, whatever her name is. She's married to the writer for, or was, of Sons of Anarchy. Um, and he did Mayans. Kurt Sutter. She was married to Kurt Sutter. Um, so he wrote Sons of Anarchy, The Shield, and half of Mayans on the FX network. Long time relationship that they've had. But Kate, what's her name?
The
Peg.
goal.
Yeah, yep, Katie Seagal. Kate Seagal or Katie Seagal.
Mhm.
Fantastic actress.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
I loved her. And once again, another redhead. Had a thing for her too. And there's Kelly Bundy sitting there, but I still had a thing for the redhead.
Yeah, but no, you
Anyway.
can tell our crowd boosted this one up, though. The people we associate with and vote, they weren't so much Saved by the Bell people. They were Married with Children. Thank you, Timmy C, for your participation in this week's poll.
Number 2, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
There we go. There we go.
And
West
this was fantastic.
Philadelphia,
This
born
did
and
dig
raised.
into some stuff several times, but
Yep.
it was lighthearted a lot too, but it was good. I mean, Uncle
It was
Phil is fantastic.
I think it was a nice balance and juxtaposition, because Uncle
Mhm.
Phil, of course, being the judge, he's also Solomon the Wise. And
Right.
you get Carlton the Goof doing the Carlton
Carlton.
dance, and we're gonna break that out in Baltimore. We all
Silver
gonna do the
Spoons. There's one we
we
didn't think of.
gonna
See,
do
I'm
the
seeing all these
Carlton
actors,
dance.
and I'm seeing thinking about shows they were in before, and there's yet another one we didn't include.
Yeah, and the whole idea of Will Smith going to move with his uncle, and then having the like we talk about the goofy Carlton dance and the shenanigans they would do, and then that one real powerful scene about how his father leaves him, and
Yeah.
Phil accepts it and lets Will cut. They cuss on television. He yells at him. Phil hugs him. It's a big deal, a really nice cathartic experience for the audience, but not something you saw in the 90s all the time, or the late
Well, and
80s.
that was
Could be
after he
both,
yelled at him, "You're not my father,"
Right.
and all this stuff, because he was trying to give his dad a chance, and Uncle Phil's warning him. He's like, "You're
Yeah.
not my father," and made a big deal out of it.
And if you go to
It was
episode, we
excellent.
talk about how goofy Fresh Prince was, but that's the episode everybody remembers.
That's right.
That's the one that stands out.
Well, that and Jazz getting thrown out on his ass over it.
But I did love that show. I thought it was
It was
fantastic.
excellent. And a catchy song. I mean, that might be a list on its own.
Oh,
Catchiest theme song.
yeah, songs for TV shows, absolutely.
But all right, so before we reveal it, we already had one number one last week, which was the Golden Girls. We're not going to pit them up against each other, but
bang bang with
this
a bullet, homie.
This week's number one, Big Bang Theory.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
I'm sensing that that's not propped up by you.
I did not prop up the Big Bang Theory. They did make the top 10 list, but I do enjoy Sheldon and Penny and what's her name? Because Penny's the hot one, whatever the girl, the other nerd is, and the whole interaction is fine. It's
Amy
fun.
Farrah Fowler.
Yeah, and thank you. I have seen some of these episodes. I have not seen all of these episodes.
Lead into Dynamite.
Yeah, I do think I like Young Sheldon better personally.
Yeah.
I've seen more of those episodes.
It is much different show though. It's
very, very much much different. But you guys had told me that's not really a sitcom, and I'm like, well, some of it's funny, but then you think about it, and some of it's not so funny. But I would not, and I'm gonna go on record right now. You want to go head to head, Golden Girls versus Big Bang? It ain't even close.
I don't think
the Golden
so
Girls win again.
I think so. Yeah.
But I went on my soapbox.
But I would not have
put
Big Bang on top of this list either, though. I mean, that's my deal.
Yeah, I'm obviously you heard it. I'm a Saved by the Bell guy.
Right.
That's kind of my thing because it's just right in that nostalgia for me. But the Golden Girls, I said it last week. You'll never find 4 actresses available at the same time with those personalities that pulled those characters off. It will never happen. And it was women. exclusively women, and that's what made that one special.
That's right. And they would
And
talk about, like, Rose would talk about Charlie,
yeah,
and we would, once in a while, Dorothy's ex-husband would show up. But
Stan.
yeah, Stan. But anyway, that's last week. You can see, if you're on YouTube, you can see the top 10. I have it displayed here. Not going to run back through them. We just went through all of them. But, that's the list that I didn't think of. But, there's others.
It's a pretty
I know
good
there's
list. And
other
we already
opinions.
named more that we forgot, So
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a lot of good shows. I mean, there's
yeah.
been a lot of good TV throughout history. And this is a lot of it.
Yep.
Thank you for listening. We are TNA Top 10 on all social media. I'm TWeave79. He's 30-year fan. We're available weekly where you get your podcasts. Like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.